setting the scene, kind of what motivated ScaleFactor, where was ScaleFactor born out of? It was started by a gentleman named Kurt Rathman, who was a former CFO, former Big Four accountant. And it was really just out of frustration of a lot of these repeatable tasks, or a lot of the tasks that come out of bookkeeping and accounting are highly repeatable, and yet they're still typically driven by people or driven by somebody having to hire in a CPA or hire in a bookkeeper into the business. Or oftentimes within a small business, it becomes the operation of the small business owner themselves. They're having to do it at night, do it on the weekend to stay on top of things. So then just some super quick background in terms of ScaleFactor as a company. We were founded in 2014. We're headquartered out of Austin, Texas. We also have a decent sized office up in Denver, Colorado as well. We have crested over 150 employees. The company's been growing extremely quickly. Cool. So then giving a quick overview of how ScaleFactor really works, it's really powered by two sources of data. One is QuickBooks or Xero, so sitting on top of really best-in-class accounting platforms. We by no means wanted to go out and try to rework building our own general ledger or building our own accounting system. QuickBooks and Xero do that very, very well. The other piece is that we integrate into bank and credit card accounts. And what that allows us to do is to do automated daily bookkeeping as well as bill pay and invoice management. So by being able to plug into your banks and credit cards directly, we're able to consume that information much more quickly and make sure that that's processed and pushed into your accounting file in a very accurate and timely way. Whereas really the norm in the industry has been everything gets pushed into your accounting file until the end of the month, and then maybe your accountant sending you over questions around expenses that you had 25 days ago and you have no clue what that pertained to. Really what you're able to avail of within ScaleFactor is once you make that purchase, we're going to be pushing you, if it's something that we don't recognize, we're able to push you a clarification request within a day while it's kind of fresh in your mind, and we make sure that that gets booked accurately to the right account. Awesome. So that's really just a high level kind of how the data that's powering ScaleFactor. I think it's important to set that scene before jumping into ScaleFactor itself. So quickly walking around the different services and products that we provide, I'll go ahead and work my way around counterclockwise. So automated daily bookkeeping, that's really the backbone of ScaleFactor. That's the core product that we supply to any business that we're working with. So we're connecting into your different bank and credit card accounts and classifying, setting the contacts as well as setting the classes if you're doing class tracking. Moving around, we've got bill pay. So we're able to pay bills on your behalf. So this is things like if you're cutting checks automatically, or if you're cutting checks manually or logging into your bank portal and paying vendors directly, you're able to go ahead and we'll pay those bills on your behalf. Payroll administration. So this is, we're able to administer payroll on your behalf. We can make sure that taxes are handled properly, that payroll goes out properly. We'll alert you if a payroll is about to overdraft one of your accounts that you've set up. The two main providers that we typically work with around payroll administration are Gusto as well as ADP. Business forecasting, we built out a tool that's called Cash Vision. This allows me to do what-if scenarios based on cash projections. Detailed insights. So since we're doing and consuming your bookkeeping information on a daily basis, we're able to call out different trend and variance analysis and different alerts around that piece. So we're able to do things like, hey, you spent $500 more on insurance this month than last month. Maybe there was a double charge or an increase in your premium without being notified. Things like that. It allows you to be a little bit more reactive as opposed to having to go through and sift through that data on a daily basis. We'll let you know when there are issues. Tax max. So we're able to calculate and file state and federal taxes on your behalf. Invoicing, so that's if you're sending invoices out to clients, we'll set up a cadence with you to collect the information of who needs to be invoiced for how much and when, and then we'll go ahead and administer those on your behalf. And then finally, the 24/7 virtual assistant, we've got a chatbot built into the system that is really built to quickly return information that would otherwise take a few days to get answers back from a traditional accountant. Excellent. So it's time to go ahead and we're going to jump into ScaleFactor itself. So I'll go ahead and pull up my account. So we'll go ahead and kick off with the home feed within ScaleFactor. And really this is the centralized newsfeed or task list of the things that you need to go in and quickly complete as either a financial professional or business owner. Really, this is the area that you can kick the day off with and know what are the back office tasks that I need to go ahead and complete, and then go on with my day running the business. So the typical things that you'll see within the home feed are things like transaction request reviews. So we're going to be able to classify a huge majority of your expenses and income that hit your bank account. But every once in a while, we'll see something where the description is something that we haven't seen before, or our machine learning wasn't able to classify that. So we'll reach out to you to get a better understanding of what that particular expense was. And then we can go ahead and feed that back into our classification engine. So really the idea is when you come on board with ScaleFactor, we'll learn over time to get a really good understanding of how to bookkeep different expenses and income items that are hitting your bank account. So the number of review requests will shrink significantly over time as they begin to flow through our system. Other typical things that you'll see in the home feed is there's just kind of general tasks throughout the month. Like if you guys are doing payroll administration with us, we're able to collect hourly payroll information directly within ScaleFactor. That allows for kind of a nice audit trail of what was uploaded, when was it uploaded, and then you're able to track the actual progress of when we're about to issue payroll, things like that. As well as there's things like insights. So we're able to run analysis over our different clients' businesses. This one's actually eligibility for a specific tax break. So we're able to figure out which customers might be eligible for different tax breaks, things like that. And we can push that information into the home feed as well. You're also able to see a quick overall snapshot of, I call this kind of your available capital stack. So cash obviously being the cheapest thing to use in the sense that you don't have to have an interest rate associated with it. And then you're able to compare that against your available credit as well to understand kind of your net cash projection, as well as what you have available in terms of spending power within the business. And then we're really big on kind of thought leadership within the small business space here at ScaleFactor. So all of that content that we surface, we push into ScaleFactor as well. So I'll continue to work down the list. So I'll walk us through kind of each of the major products within ScaleFactor. So the next piece is the dashboard. This provides consolidated financial information from your bank and credit card accounts. So I'm able to quickly see at a high level what my current cash balance is, where that cash is coming from, same thing from my credit cards. And then this is able to be rolled into additional information that's really kind of creates powerful and actionable insights. So a big one that we're able to provide is around expense insights. So this is really a budgeting tool. So I'm able to go in and set a budget for the month based on a set of accounts. So if I go in here and do add new insight, let's grab one, just something like employee payrolls. I've grouped a set of chart of account accounts in here. So I've got things like direct wages, but then I also have other expenses associated with that. So if I have hourly employees and I do one payroll run 2 weeks into the month, I can see if anybody booked overtime or something like that, because I can set up an alarm bell and say, hey, if I exceeded 50% of my budget within that month, go ahead and send me an alert so that I know to reach out to the employees that booked overtime. I need to have them kind of step it back for the remainder of the month. Same thing with like travel and expenses or travel and entertainment, things like that. You can set triggers against that to catch it within the month, as opposed to waiting for like 15 or 20 days after to when you finally get your income statement from your accountant and you see, oh, wow, we spent a lot on travel and entertainment. You can actually catch that stuff within the period and take action on it instead of having to retroactively go back around and take preventative action later on. You're also able to see kind of more granular information around. I can see who are my largest vendors. I've had customers who've caught things like double payments to vendors because they see, oh, they definitely shouldn't be my top vendor this month, and they've been able to catch double payments. Things like transactions by category, where you're able to see a breakdown of where the majority of your money is going. You can also compare accounts payable next to accounts receivable. So I'm able to see my upcoming bills that I have, as well as the invoices that I have due back to me. So I can see, oh, okay, I've got a big spike of bills upcoming, but I can also see that I've got $17,000 in overdue invoices. So maybe I should spend my morning kind of calling into these clients, or tell somebody on my team calling into these clients to chase, because then I'll be fine from a cash flow perspective to pay the bills that I have upcoming. We also have some integrations that you're able to surface data within ScaleFactor. So currently we integrate with Salesforce and Stripe. So I'm able to see things like Stripe revenue churn over time. So helpful to see that against my cash balance. I can see what I'm churning out and what I'm bringing in from a revenue perspective through Stripe. Similarly with Salesforce, you're able to see things like pipeline details, as well as information around close one deals, things like that. We're continuing to build out the number of integrations that we have. We've got we're working closely with Shopify and Square and a few other providers to start delivering that information as well. And then the business insights. This is, again, it's since we're consuming this data, we can start to apply data science on top of it. So we can start to call things out like, hey, you spent $500 more on insurance this month, or you have taxes coming up, so we can help with the financial plan for 2019, things like that. Cool. And then the transactions view, this is really just a window into what we're doing from a bookkeeping perspective. So I'm able to quickly see each of my transactions, what ScaleFactor set the category to be, what they've set the contact to be, as well as you can go ahead and upload files against them. And before items have been reconciled, you can actually suggest edits against them as well. So if we haven't closed out the month and you catch something, it's like, hey, I don't think that should be booked against that, you can go ahead and quickly raise a request here. Our team takes that and then corrects the machine learning around your account in terms of how we're classifying these transactions. You can also do nice things like filter and search here. Awesome. So bill pay. So again, this is really, I would think of this as, it's not necessarily for bills that you just have set up auto pay on your credit card. Those are generally pretty easy to deal with. Those will just come through in the bookkeeping flow, and we'll go ahead and make sure that those are properly attached to bills and all that good stuff. Bill pay is predominantly around any time where you're having to pull out your checkbook and write a check, or print off a check, or log into your bank account and do a direct ACH transfer. That's really the piece that we're able to take off your plate. And we make it very, very easy to send ScaleFactor bills. There's a number of ways that I can get bills into the system. Probably the easiest is directly with the ScaleFactor mobile app. You can actually just take a picture of the bill, and then it will upload into our system. We'll run it through initially to try to pull out what we can from the image, and then a specialist will review the bill as well. Based on the due date, we'll go ahead and get that scheduled for payments based on the approval rules that you set up. The other ways that I'm able to create a bill or get a bill loaded into the system are we give you a unique email address where you can go ahead and forward bills to, as well as I can raise bills directly in ScaleFactor as well. And that can be, it can either be an ad hoc where I create the bill directly without a supporting document, or I can just go ahead and drag that supporting document into the file upload, and then we'll take it from there. So, and then within my bill pay view, I'm also able to see at a high level the accounts that I've set up to pay bills. I can see my weekly bill pay totals moving forward. I can see when my scheduled payments are, and then bills requiring approval. The approval rules are pretty nice in the sense that I can come in and set specific rules, and I can set thresholds around the different approvers that I've set up. So you can say, hey, my office manager can approve everything up to $500, and then I want to approve anything beyond that. You can also say, hey, for specific vendors, I just want that payment to go out automatically, versus all other vendors, I want to go ahead and review those invoices to make sure that they're accurate. And all of those reviews can be done both from the ScaleFactor mobile app as well as just directly within your home feed. So you don't have to go digging for the things that we need to we need your approval on. Invoicing, so you're able to raise invoices directly into here, as well as if you have a separate invoicing system, you can go ahead and either run an export or just push them into QuickBooks and Xero, and then we'll make sure that those invoices get sent and administered on your behalf. And we'll help set up things like credit card payment, what we can help configure Stripe against your invoices, as well as configuring the automated reminders out to your customers, things like that. Awesome. So Cash Vision. So this is where you get to start to really use the accurate data that we're helping produce on you guys' behalf. So within Cash Vision, what we're doing is we're giving you a 6-month rear view of your cash flow, and then a 6-month projection of your cash flow based on the historical data that we have in your accounting system. So what I'm looking at here is the kind of more grayed out color. That's the previous 6 months based on the actuals within your business. So based on actual cash flow. So the top bar here, that's showing my cash in. The orange is showing cash out. The green line is showing net cash. And then the blue line is showing my ending balance. And then I'm able to see through July through November moving forward, I'm able to see the cash flow projections that we're able to make based on historical trends. So I'm able to see, okay, yeah, I am getting kind of close in terms of my ending cash balance. Maybe I need to make some adjustments from either an expense or a revenue perspective, either go chase things a little bit more heavily or tighten the belt in terms of where I'm spending. And then if I come down below, I'm able to see more granular detail on how those projections are being built out, as well as I can configure them. So if I know in July I'm going to land a big contract, I can go in and make an adjustment to that particular forecast as well. Because we do our best. We use a really good forecasting algorithm in terms of projection, but you know your business better than any algorithm ever could. So there's going to be certain events where you can go through and model those specific transactions or make adjustments. So the way that we're building these projections is we'll call out any recurring transactions that we can go ahead and identify. So with subscription-based businesses, we can typically have a pretty good idea in terms of what your recurring revenue will look like. We break that into a recurring subtotal, and then we break the remaining percent into basically a non-recurring cash in and cash out. So you can see, like, we know that you're always going to pay Corey's cleaning crew. If there's specific transactions that we miss, you can actually go in and create those transactions as well. So this is more like if you know those are going to occur. The other really powerful piece is getting into more of a what if scenario. So I can actually create scenarios on top of this projection. So this could be something like, hey, I want to open a new office or move offices, and I know my rent's going to increase. Or maybe I want to hire a new employee and I want to see what that's going to do to cash flow. So I've created a scenario here, and I've called this my new hire increase rent scenario. So I've got that modeled out where just that very thing's occurring. I've got my new hire here. They're going to cost me $1,200. I've got rent. It's going to cost me $1,264. I'm then able to see how that's affecting my cash flow moving forward. And then if you have particularly tight months where you're trying to time different cash in and cash out to hit things just right from a cash flow perspective, we also provide a calendar overview so I can see where these things are going to hit within the month, so I don't accidentally overdraft. If I know, well, I've got a big invoice coming in like 2 days, maybe I go ahead and time a larger purchase to right after when that invoice hits. So it helps everybody kind of speak one version of the truth when you're modeling out different purchases and things like that. So just a couple more pieces to go. The compliance calendar. So this is if we're doing your taxes on your behalf, we're able to surface the different upcoming due dates, and we'll go ahead and surface into your home feed any documents or information that's required to make sure that we're getting your taxes calculated and prepared on your behalf. And then all your previous documents and filings are attached and stay within ScaleFactor as well. So you don't have to go dig back through somebody's laptop or figure out whose Google Drive it was in. It's all centrally housed within ScaleFactor. Payroll information. So at a high level, I'm able to come in and see actual information around payroll. So what was on the payroll? What did each employee get paid? What was the breakdown between net pay versus taxes and benefits and things like that? This piece, if you're a business where most of your employees are salaried and you're just sending payroll on either a 2-week or weekly basis, generally payroll is not that big of a deal. Really, where I think we can help bring a lot of value, or we typically bring a lot of value, is if you have a number of payroll adjustments that are occurring. So if you have hourly employees that are misreporting hours, or if you have things where you over or underpay due to PTO or a salary change or things like that, that's where ScaleFactor really helps, because all you have to, because in talking to business owners, it's one of those things where when something goes wrong with the payroll, and we make sure all of the administration of that is handled properly. So it gets added. We can either do a one-off issuance to the employee, or we can roll it into their next pay period, depending on what you specify, as well as we make sure all the taxes and withholdings and everything are set up and configured properly, depending on the adjustment type. Awesome. And then just a couple more sections. So documents, again, this is really meant to be kind of the centralized repository for key financial documents. So any of your tax filings, things like that will come into here, as well as any bills or invoices that have been uploaded in the system will live directly within ScaleFactor. And then the final piece is just around reporting and financial statements. So if you are a business where you have investors or a bank that's pushing you to have monthly financials, so an income statement and balance sheet, we're able to provide those on a monthly basis. So we'll take you through the proper financial closing procedures. If you're on accrual accounting, we can help with that and make sure that we're calling out any prepaid bills and getting those accrued properly throughout the month, making sure that you're recognizing your revenue properly if you do service contracts over multiple months, things like that. Just making sure that that's done correctly from an accounting perspective, so that you have an accurate income statement to share out to either third parties who are looking for that information to value your business, or if you're using them internally to go ahead and make strategic decisions based on your financial data. The other piece as well we're able to help with is if you have class tracking set up within the business, we're able to help you to note and split out your income statement based on your different classes that you've got set up and configured. So just kind of one last quick thing. We've got a chatbot named Marge built in. Really what Marge is able to do is able to provide kind of quick returns of information. So I can say things like, what is my AR balance? And she's able to quickly return that information. Whereas I would have to go log into QuickBooks, go to the right AR report, make sure that it's filtered properly. This is an area that we're really focused on improving and continuing to expand the question set that she's able to answer. Awesome. So we've gone through kind of a quick overview of the different products that ScaleFactor provides, kind of how that stuff all fits together. Really the centralized place that most of our customers spend their time is directly in the home feed, because that's where we're pushing kind of key insights as well as any tasks that are required. And then the output of that is that you get really, really clean financials throughout the month as well as at the end of the month. You don't have to log into QuickBooks or Xero very often. Really the only time customers go there is if they have specific reports that they want to run. You do not have to worry about how to do a journal entry right, or going in and setting classifications or codes correctly when you're doing bookkeeping against transactions. All of that stuff is taken off your plate once you've come on board with ScaleFactor. And then it's really just about helping us in the small areas, basically where we're not able to automatically kind of handle the accounting procedures on your behalf. Awesome. So that's really kind of the overview. That's all I had in terms of content today. I'll go ahead and open it up for questions. You can go ahead and enter those directly into Zoom if you do have any of those. Cool. So it looks like we've got one. It's around what happens after I sign up? What are the next steps? That's a great question. So we have a phenomenal customer success as well as onboarding team. So you'll immediately get assigned a customer success manager. They'll actually call you within a day of signing your contract. And they're kind of your quarterback to make sure that you get configured and launched properly onto ScaleFactor. And really the steps are pretty easy on your behalf to get things set up. All we need to do is for you to grant us access to your accounting file. So either QuickBooks or Xero. If you don't already have one, we're happy to set one up for you, either QuickBooks or Xero, not a problem. And then the other piece is just granting us access to your bank and credit card accounts. And that's done through a secure API connection. So you're able to just simply grant us access there, and then we're able to consume the data that we need to start bookkeeping and bill pay on your behalf. The final step is you'll then go through basically a deep dive or accounting file review with one of our technical accounting managers. So you're actually working with a senior accountant to go through and review and understand kind of the health of your current accounting file. So if you're a little behind, we can figure out a plan to get you back and healthy on that step. If you're current, we'll figure out kind of the best way to get you moved on to just kind of the recurring team around bookkeeping, bill pay, all that good stuff. Cool. So there's another question. If I have more than one business, do I need more than one account? So yes, you do need more than one account. We see multi-entity businesses all the time, and we're very equipped to help work with those. We can do to and do froms if you need to do transfers between the businesses and make sure that they get accounted for correctly. The other nice thing, and this is optional, so if you have regulatory reasons that they need to be totally separate, we can do that as well. But typically the way that we'll set up accounts is if you have multiple accounts, you're actually able to switch between those accounts seamlessly based on the user that's been set up. So I'm currently in my Kenny Johnson demo account. I can go ahead and jump over to my Streamline account, and it's just one simple click, and it takes me over to my Streamline account to be able to see, okay, here's that particular account view. Excellent. Any other questions? Perfect. Looks like that is everything. Well, thank you everybody for attending. Thanks for taking the time out of your afternoon to hear a little bit more about ScaleFactor. If in your research, either rewatching this or just reading more about ScaleFactor, you do have additional questions or want to learn more, we've got a phenomenal team that would be happy to jump on and kind of answer any additional questions that you have, and kind of talk through what the onboarding process would look like. So kind of wherever you're at in the world, I think most people on here are probably into the afternoon, late afternoon. Have a wonderful afternoon or early afternoon. And thanks so much again for attending. Bye-bye.